What is it like being a Jamaican living in Oregon? Hi, I'm Xavier Murphy, founder of Jamaicans.com. And today in Jamaicans to the World, I talked to Bernadette Suh, a Jamaican living in Portland, Oregon, in the United States. Hi, Bernadette, how are you?
Hi, I'm great, thank you. It's a little cold here right now, but I'm doing good.
What's the temperature?
Oh, it's in the 30s. It's in the 30s
Okay,
right now.
that is cold. That is cold. So which part of Jamaica are you from?
Well, I'm from St. Catherine, which is outside of Spanish Town, and I was
Okay.
born in a little town, a little country town called Point Hill. Yeah, so yeah, I that's where I'm from, Point Hill, St. Catherine.
Awesome. Is there a school that you want to big up from your days living in Jamaica?
Oh gosh, I went to so many different schools in Jamaica. Well, I started my education in Point Hill at Point Hill All Age School. And from there, I left and went to live in Spanish Town. And I went to Crescent All Age and then to St. Catherine High School. So, yes, those are all part of my upbringing.
Your journey.
Yeah, of my journey living in Jamaica.
Is there a teacher that you remember from either All Age or St. Catherine High that really influenced your life?
Yes. Remember Miss Lati. Miss Lati was, oh my gosh, I give everything to her. She's the one that made sure that knew my name as I came into school. And because as a small child, I didn't know my middle name and even my last name, and so she made sure I knew my first name, middle name, and last name, so that anyone who asked me my name, I could tell them my name was Bernadette Lennon at the time. And oh yeah, so she was an influence. Now, when I went to St.
St.
Catherine,
Catherine?
yes. Miss Williams was my teacher. She was a very strict lady, and I really liked her a lot. With your uniform, make sure your uniform was intact and you look, proper and everything. So yeah, and then of course, when I went to Crescent All Age, my aunt was one of the teachers there, and of course,
So you can't give any trouble
right,
because it's coming
exactly.
right home to your parents.
Exactly. And so she made sure I had to be, Miss Prim and proper because your aunt works there. You don't want to embarrass yourself or her. So I had to be, prim and proper. But yeah, my school years in Jamaica were all great, great years.
Nice, nice. So tell us about the United States. You moved here. What was one of the biggest culture shocks for you moving from Jamaica to the United States?
Ah, gosh, the cold. And actually, when I came to the United States, I came to Boston, where my parents were, because they had just moved to Boston from England. So I grew up in Jamaica without my parents. My grandparents raised me. But anyhow, living in Boston was quite a shock in terms of the weather and just meeting different people from all parts of the Caribbean. Um,
Nice.
so it was great, but again,
Okay.
like I said, the cold
The cold.
was what got to me.
So tell us about the journey then from Boston. No, you're east, you're far east in Boston, and no, you live in Portland, Oregon, which is on way on the other side.
Yeah, over 3,000 miles away. Well, I came to Oregon in 1972, right after graduating from high school in Boston, and I came out here on a scholarship. I came to Portland, Oregon on a scholarship and did well in college and just never moved back to Boston. I decided to stay in Oregon. I loved it here. The job I took after college kept me here. I was a teacher for 36 years. In Klamath County and in Ashland and now in Portland. And I've retired. I've been retired now, what, 10, 11 years. So, yes, that's what brought me to Oregon was a scholarship to a small
Nice.
college called Southern Oregon College in south of here, south of Portland.
Okay. What is the cost of living like out there in Portland, Oregon?
Well, it's a lot cheaper than it is on the East Coast, but it has gotten very expensive over the last I would say 10, 12 years. Apartments that you used to be able to get for, let's say, six, $700 are now going for 12 and $1,300 because cost of living has risen so much, and people have moved to Oregon from California, which is very expensive there, and it was a lot cheaper in Portland. So, you know, um, with things going up in California, a lot of people moved to Oregon, which was cheaper at the time, and it still is cheaper than California. But we're not finding that there's a lot of people moving to from California to Oregon as they did in the
As it
past.
used to.
Hmm.
I see. I see. No, you've been there for a while. 1972. It's quite a while.
Hmm.
Is there any type of Jamaican or Caribbean community out there in Portland, Oregon?
Well, yes, there is. You do have to create your own, though. I belong to a couple groups. We started this group about 6 years ago, and it's called Caribbean Queens. It's all Caribbean women, and we just try to support each other. That started because we found out, I and a couple other women that are in the group found out that there were a lot of Caribbean folks that were coming to Oregon. Companies were bringing them here based on their skills, and because they didn't have a community, they would leave after a year, year and a half, or two to go back to the East Coast or wherever they're most comfortable. So now that we've started that group, it's a little bit more, the village has grown and it's a little bit more comfortable and exciting to be here, particularly when different reggae concerts come to town. Oh gosh, you see everyone because that's the only thing that is in town at the time. I know Ziggy Marley was here a couple months ago. His brothers were here. um, Ziggy was here in July, and he and his brothers were back um, in a small town just outside of Portland in Washington, and it was a great concert. Oh, everybody was there. All the Jamaicans and Caribbeans come out. So, yeah,
That's nice.
it's lovely. It's lovely.
So do you all have like events that you put on, maybe celebrating Jamaica's independence,
Yes.
maybe celebrating Trinidad's independence,
Yes,
and
we do. We do that in the summertime mostly, when it's warm and we can fit everyone. We usually have it at the park and Blue Lake Park, that's in further out in a little town called Gresham. And there's usually about, I would say, about 150 of us, with husbands and their wives and kids and aunts and cousins and everyone. So yeah, and then we also have our Christmas event where we get together. Everybody brings a dish, and we get together at a particular place wherever we can find that, you know, that's cheap enough, a hall, and we play
Right,
our
right.
music, and each person brings a dish, and we just have a lot of fun, and celebrating our culture, because if we don't celebrate it, nobody else is going to. So we try to make it home as much as we can. And of course, it's all women from different parts of the Caribbean. We have Jamaicans and Trinidad and Tobagans. We have, oh gosh, Barbadian. We have people from all the different islands that we can find that belongs to our group. And
Right, right.
sometimes they're not a part of our group, but they hear about our group, and so they join the group. And so the bigger, the better. And we
Awesome.
just try to make it as much as comfortable living here outside of what we're used to as much as possible.
Good, good. Now, you talked about food. So, where do you get your Jamaican fix? Is there a couple restaurants, or is it what you cook at home or get from friends?
Actually, there are a couple Jamaican slash African restaurants here. And so they tend to eat some of the same foods Caribbeans eat. The yams, the sweet potatoes, the okra. They're all here. Those things are here. However, they are much more expensive than you would pay for them on the East Coast. Yeah. So
Mm.
yeah, but sometimes some of the women in the group have it sent from New York or Boston, or you know, um, we figure out a way to get it. When you want something that you're used to eating, you figure out a way to get it, and we cook up and meet up and at a particular time in December, and just really celebrate our culture.
Awesome. No, no, this question, what I know is kind of coming from not left field, but you're the mom of a famous NFL player, and so I don't even want to start to pronounce his name because I'll mess it up all the time.
Uh-huh.
But Mr. Sue, who used to play for the Eagles, played for the Dolphins, played for a couple other NFL teams. What I'm curious to know is what Jamaican dish was his favorite. And
Oh,
if you want to give the name, because again, I don't want to mess it up. So let folks know
well, his
who your
name,
son is.
you won't be the only person who messed up his name. His name is Ndamukong. And I know it's easier than it's spelled, but lots of people call him Sue. In the league, all of his friends called him Sue because it was easier for them to pronounce. Or some people call him D. But his favorite dish was curry chicken.
Okay,
And he also really, really enjoys the patties, beef
okay,
patties. Whenever
okay.
I go on the East Coast, he always says, "Mom, remember to bring some of the patties back for me." And so those are his two favorite things. But now I tell him he enjoys the the curry chicken, whereas when he was growing up and I would fix dinner, he would complain, "Mom, curry chicken again?" you know but yeah, that's his favorite dish.
All right,
He doesn't eat as much Jamaican foods now um as he did before, because he's trying to lose some weight, and
all right.
plus it's
But
yeah.
when he comes home though, make sure you make that curry chicken for him. He'll
Actually,
get a
yeah,
pass.
yeah.
He'll get a pass
Oh
for that.
yeah, he gets a pass sometimes, but yeah, he eats more traditional American foods now. The burgers,
Okay.
chicken,
Right.
steamed chicken, that kind of stuff. So different American type plates. But he certainly has not forgotten his roots in terms of the curries and all.
Jerk
Yeah,
and the patties and
exactly,
everything else.
exactly. He
Yeah.
loves fried plantains too. So
Good.
yes.
Good. You're a trailblazer as a Jamaican living in Portland, Oregon. True trailblazer.
Hmm.
When you mention you're Jamaican, that is,
Hmm.
what are the type of questions you get?
The first thing people always say is, "How did you get here?" And I say, "By airplane." Or, I came out here to go to school. And that's that. You know, but I don't generally elaborate a great deal because there really isn't a lot to elaborate about. I came. That was what brought me to Oregon was school,
School.
college. Yeah.
Right. Right. All right. Then what I mean, I think I know the answer to this. The biggest adjustment you had to make in Portland, Oregon when you moved out there. I think I know what it is. You moved from cold to colder, but I'll let you tell me.
Well, when I came here, I went from Boston to Ashland, a little town south of here, south of Portland, Ashland, Oregon. That's where the college was where I went to school. And then after 5 years, I went to another small town called Klamath Falls. And I taught there for 3 years. And then I left from there to Portland, Oregon, which is the bigger city in Oregon. All the other towns I've lived in Oregon are all small towns, very small, much like Point Hill, where I came from. So everyone knows who you are. And of course, I was one of maybe, I don't know, one of very few person of color. So um, everybody knows you, and you try to get to know them. You don't necessarily know them, but they know you primarily because, like I said, you're one of few people of color.
Now, what would you say if someone was coming out to Portland, Oregon, is a place or an event that they must either go to this event or visit this place? What would that be?
Oh, wow. Gee. Well, if you come during the basketball season, it would be great to visit a Trailblazer game. The Portland Rose Garden would be another wonderful place to visit. It has tremendous amount of roses there. Um, the zoo would be another nice place. The Japanese garden. There are also the beach. We are 50 minutes from the beach, the Pacific Ocean. That's a wonderful place to visit during the summer, fall, and winter. Um,
Wow.
you
I wouldn't think the beach, but I guess I'm looking at cold, thinking cold. But I mean, you have summers,
Mhm,
so obviously
mhm.
the beach is like normal.
Yeah, well, it's not the only time to go to the beach here. I mean, you don't necessarily have to go into the water, but there's a lot of wonderful things that happens at the beach during the fall and winter months. The waves. This last couple months, we've had the king waves and just whale watching. So there's a variety of reasons why folks do go to the beach during the different seasons. But during the summer, most folks go to the beach to play in the water and play in the sand and cool off. But like I said, in the winter months, fall and winter months, there are a lot of other reasons why people go to the beach. There's whale watching, and there's the king waves. It's
Nice.
just beautiful to stand back and watch the ripples of the wave coming in. It's just beautiful. It's so peaceful. So yeah, there's a lot of wonderful things in Oregon to see. The outdoors, the hiking, that's in part what kept me here is the hike. All the different hikes, the mountains and trails, and there's just a variety of wonderful outdoor things that are attractive to a lot of people that come to Oregon to visit, that brings them back. And that's one of the things, the hike and all the outdoor things, the if you
And the little rivers and so on.
like.
I visited. Wasn't a long visit, but it was lush and green, and that's what I
Yes.
remember
Yes, it's very
about Oregon.
beautiful. Yes, the green roof. That's because we get so much rain throughout the year. We get a lot of rain in Oregon. So yeah, the mountains, if you like skiing or is
Right,
interested in skiing, people go to the mountains. We're 2 hours away from the mountains. It's just lovely. There's just a variety of things here to do. It's just that
good.
it's culturally you're culturally deprived because there's not a lot of people that you know um,
Right,
celebrate
right.
your culture. But in the summertime, there's quite a few.
There's things to do.
Yeah, a lot of
Good,
things to do
good,
in the summertime. Concerts and you know.
good. So I have a scenario for you,
Mhm.
and this is how I typically kind of close things out.
Mhm.
You fly from Portland, probably going to have to make a stop somewhere before you head to Jamaica, but you're going to Jamaica.
Mhm.
You get out the plane.
Mhm.
I'm not sure which airport now. I don't know if you're doing Ochi. I mean, sorry, you're doing Montego Bay or you're doing Kingston, but let's just say Kingston.
Mhm.
What is that first thing that you are doing once you get out the airport? Whether it be some people it's a dip, some people it's I gotta have this food or I'm gonna visit this. What's that first thing for you?
I usually just stand and look around and just take in the accents of all the, people talking. It brings me back home in listening to the dialects and listening to people talk to each other. I just think it's great, and the heat too. I was in Jamaica last summer um, for a service project. I came back to Jamaica and did a service project, and I took a couple of my friends along with me who had never been to Jamaica before. One had never gotten on a plane before, and so it was quite interesting. But yeah, I love to always come back and visit Jamaica and do things. So, like I said, last fall, actually, it was last fall in October, I came back to Jamaica and did some service work called eye care. I don't know if you're aware of it, but it would be nice to spread the word called eye care. It's under great shape, and I just really enjoyed working and with those kids and people. It just breaks my heart to see the needs
Yeah.
of people there, and it just bring me back in terms of seeing the kids in their little uniform and how crisp and shiny they are and stuff. It reminds me of my days when I was there. So yeah, it's always great. I always enjoy myself when I go back to Jamaica, and the food too.
I want to say Georgine and that team that goes down for the eye care and
Mhm.
what they do a tremendous job. They've been doing this for years.
Yes.
No, I don't know if you want to share where if how people can help because I do think this is a important project. For people to support. So if there's any, like a website or anything you want to share, please feel free to.
Well, they can look this up, and it's called Great Shape Incorporated. And you know, call the numbers that are on it, and get additional information. Um, it's a volunteer service, and I know when I first found out about it, I would do what little I could, and that was to send tubs of things to Jamaica. One year I sent like 13 tubs of pencils, erasers, book bags, um, just whatever I could find at different yard sales and giveaways here in Portland. And so, you know, but yeah, it's a great program to be involved with. Um, Again, it's called Great Shape Incorporated,
Okay.
and
All right. So
there are
folks,
different parts of the program. There's a vision care piece, there is a literacy and math piece, there's a computer piece, there's a dental piece. So, whatever skill levels you are, you know, you can do that. In fact, there is the group that I belong to here in Portland called Caribbean Queens. There's one young lady from Jamaica. I think she's from Clarendon. She sends books down, tubs of a barrel of books every year to her school, the school that she went to when she was living in Jamaica. So, and all of us pitch in maybe $5, $10 to help her ship it because it's such a
good.
need. We know, coming from Jamaica, we know what the needs are for kids and families there. So anything that I can do to help, since I found out about it, I have been doing. And of course, with the help of my son, he's helped me to make sure things get shipped, particularly when he was living in Fort Lauderdale. He would take tubs of things down with him and then have it shipped when it was due to be
Good.
shipped. And so, I'm not doing as much shipping anymore because now that COVID is over, I'm beginning to go back on those volunteer trips. So I take
Trips
as
back.
much, yeah, so I take as much as I can, and I invite friends to come along, and then they also take as much as they can, to give
Good.
and to give to the schools and to the kids because
And back to the community and back,
yes,
giving back to the community. Good. Good.
exactly. Always remember where you come from. And it feels good to
So
give, even if you're not from that community. It's always good to give because there's just so
yes.
much. There's enough for everybody to have.
Yes.
So yes.
Yeah. So, um, in closing,
Mhm,
one piece of advice that
mhm.
you'd give to anyone that's thinking of moving out there to Portland, Oregon, or just to the state of Oregon.
A piece of advice. Mm, be sure you have some kind of connection, either job connection or knowing, someone, because it can, if you're from the Caribbean, it can get lonely, and especially if you're deep rooted in your culture and not easily assimilated. It can become very, very isolated, which it did for me at one time because all I did was, go to school, go to class, study.
Right.
But when I
But you have,
finished,
well, you're a forerunner. You have created, you know what it felt like, and I think that is why, like
Mhm.
you said, the Caribbean Queens, you helped to build that community.
Yes, indeed. It's a lovely group. It's a lovely group. So anyone who is planning to come to Oregon, just look us up. We're on WhatsApp, and we're called Caribbean Queens. It's just women, Caribbean Queens. Someone asked me the other day if they could join, a gentleman, and I said no. Listen to the name. It's called Caribbean Queens. Queens
Tell him,
are
tell him,
women.
tell him to go start Caribbean Kings.
Yeah, that's true too. Well, the kings are mostly with the wives of the group, and so they spread, they help to spread the word too. So it's great.
Good.
It's lovely.
Bernadette, thank you for spending some time with us, telling us your journey to Portland, Oregon, and a little bit about Portland, Oregon. As they say, Miss Lou would say in Jamaica, Walk good.
Walk good. Yes, thank you.